Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Wait for a few people to show up, talk about a few topics. Parker versus Whyte. Talk a little bit about this Gassiev versus Usyk cruiserweight undisputed fight that's going to take place. Trey Lippe Morrison, even his brother James Mackenzie Morrison. Just want to talk about a few things. Wait for a few people to show up here. Want to talk about Martin Bakole Alunga. A few things to talk about, man. Wait for a few people to show up. Antonio McCray was good. ABENT was good. Culver City Film Club was good, man. Wait for y'all, a few y'all to show up. Talk about some heavyweight stuff. I'm actually watching Ernie Shavers versus Roy Tiger Williams right now, so it's kind of inspiring me to do a little quick. Mark Blake, what's up, man? Do a quick video. Who y'all getting at Parker versus Whyte? Lawrence Williams, what's up, man? You just joined. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Lawrence Williams. I'm actually watching Shavers versus Roy Tiger Williams right now, man. This was a classic slugfest. I'm pretty sure you've seen this, man. A few of y'all probably seen this fight. Classic heavyweight fight. I believe this was 76 when this fight took place, man. But Roy Williams was a tough dude, man. I know Roy got into it with Ali when allegedly he wasn't getting paid to spar Ali when Ali was getting ready for Foreman. If you guys remember when Ali was hyping up that fight with George, he kept saying, "My sparring partners are more menacing than George Foreman. They're bigger, they hit harder." He was actually talking about Roy Tiger Williams. Roy Williams about 6'5", 240 pounds. One of them type of dudes. I've read about him and listened to other great heavyweights talk about him. And I remember Larry Holmes in his book was saying, I believe it's that book called Beating the Odds or something like that. I forget the name of the title for Larry, that book. But anyways, Larry was saying he's one of them type of dudes you don't want to fuck with inside the ring or outside the ring. He was just a real tough dude all around. But it's a classic fight right here, though, man. But let me see who all in the building. Jay Royal was good. Bad Bart was good. All right, man. So first things first. Let me go over some prospect stuff. All right. Jermaine Franklin will be in action July 13th. He is an undefeated U.S. heavyweight prospect, 16-0, 13 knockouts. He'll be taking on Craig Lewis, who's 14 wins, but he only has 2 losses. They actually fought in the amateur, so it's going to be a all Michigan shootout when they get in the ring. But their amateur fight is on YouTube. Franklin is a guy I've done a heavyweight prospect watch on. If you guys don't know about that, go to my playlist. I got a lot of stuff on that playlist, man. I classic heavyweight fight reviews, uh, me doing heavy bag breakdowns behind my heavy bag, and also my prospect watch where I've covered about 90 damn heavyweight prospects. But anyways, Franklin is one of those guys. I like his skill. He's about 6'2" NBT boxing. Appreciate that, man. What's good, NBT? Beverly Rose was good, but he's about 6'2", about 240 pounds. I like his combination punching. He's a youngster, which I like, so he has time to grow um, and develop as a fighter. I like that he's patient. He can pump a jab. Seemed like he has a good chin on him, and he was able to have a lot of amateur success. I mean, he didn't win the Olympics, but he has some good national amateur success. I like Jermaine Franklin as a prospect, man. So you guys go check him out. But he will be fighting Craig Lewis. They fought in the amateurs. Lewis is a guy who just Most notably, he just fought Junior Five, and he lost the fight by majority decision. One judge had it a draw. 6'5", has about 9 years in age on Franklin. So when they fought 4 years ago, Franklin was like 19, 20 years old, where Lewis was about 29, somewhere in there, 28, 29 years old. So should be interesting to see how they mix and match in the pros. Their amateur fight, Lewis was trying to do his oh, let me answer this text. Give me a second, y'all. But yeah, the amateur fight was a good fight where Lewis was using his jab, he was trying to do his damn best. Greg Page, Larry Holmes, in that fight, but using the jab, he was circling. Franklin I thought was being a little bit wild in that fight. He was throwing a lot of wild hooks, but he did have some success going to the body, being patient, trying to stick that jab to Lewis's stomach and slow him down a little bit. But y'all go check that fight out, all right? Andre Fedosov. So those of you probably don't know who he is. He returned not too long ago. A lot of these fighters returned like a week or two ago, so I'm kind of late on giving the results of their fights. But Andre Fedosov is a guy. Go look at the Brian Jennings fight. That was a good fight. That was on NBC Sports. Go check that one out. But I like Fedosov. I think he's an action fighter. He won the ESPN Boxino tournament. Y'all remember when ESPN Friday Night Fights had the Boxino tournament? He won that tournament at heavyweight. I think a fight like him and Andrew Reese Jr. would be a good fight. He's a come forward type of guy. Put the high guard up, looking for knockouts. He's looking to land overhand rights, uppercuts, hooks. He's that type of fighter. He's a Russian fighter, but he fights out of. Last time I heard, he was fighting out of the Wild Card gym. So he's based here in America. Even him like Jarrell Miller or something like that, man. Him and the Jennings fight was a good fight. You know what I mean? So he made his return not too long ago, so he's back. Alexander Teslenko, 13-0 prospect, will be on the Jennings versus Dimitrenko undercard. Teslenko's a guy that moved his career up to Canada. You know, he has that Euro style, that Eastern Euro style, fights in the manner of Kovalev, Golovkin type of guy, but he's at heavyweight, and he's a young guy. A lot of these prospects are young guys, 24, 25 years old, man. So, curious to see how they develop in the next 2 years or so. All right. Martin Bakole Alunga improved to 11-0. He beat DL Jones. She stopped Jones quicker than Dubois did, a lot quicker. I was impressed by Bakole, that check left hook that he landed on DL Jones. The fight he was supposed to win, you know what I mean? But that was impressive to see a big guy like that, 6'5", 250 pounds, go off the back foot and catch a guy that's going to his body with a check left hook. And it was skillful. He didn't close his eyes and pray that it lands. You can tell that he set that up, man. And once that landed, DL Jones did a little dance. His legs started wobbling all over the place. He went down, got up, got put down again. All right, so Bakole's another guy I've done a prospect watch on out of the Congo. We know his brother, Makabo Lunga, who fought Tony Bellew, cruiserweight title. You know what I mean? So he's the big little brother. He's the big little brother, man. But this is a big dude with a good right hand, good left hook. I like the fact that he, likes to pump his jabs. You know what I mean? Because that's like a lost art nowadays, man. Seeing these guys 6'5", 6'6" with no jab. And I understand guys are bigger, stronger, faster. I mean, to some degree. It's not like we have 7'5" dudes, you know what I mean, running around fighting in heavyweight nowadays, man. There's no excuse not to have no damn jab, man. Set your shots up with jabs. It just makes it so much easier. I know, who am I? I'm a guy on YouTube talking, right? But I've watched a lot of fights, man, a lot of different eras, and a jab will take you a long way. I mean, there are guys, literally, man, Greg Page, Ali, Holmes, Lennox Lewis, Vladimir Klitschko. I can go on and on naming guys with great jabs. Sonny Liston. Now, some guys had a lot of power behind their jabs, using thudding jabs, or they were setting you up to land a right hand behind it. But at the same time, I've seen guys literally win rounds off just using jabs. Why make it harder for yourself if you're 6'6", 6'5", 81, 82-inch reach, 80-inch reach, and you're not using a jab? It's almost painful to the eyes sometimes watching these guys, man, without jabs. You know what I mean? They want to go in there and slug. But sometimes guys, they have certain attributes, man, but their mindset of a fighter doesn't fit what they have. You guys know what I mean? Like Brian Jennings, for instance, he's noted to have an 84-inch reach. I haven't seen. First, I thought it was a lie. I'm like, man, kid got some long. Oh, he's a grown man, but he got some long arms, man. And Jennings doesn't fight like somebody that has an 84-inch reach. He fight like somebody that wants to get inside and brawl, which is good for us as fans. But it just make me think, like, wow, 84 inches, you ain't using it? Or I don't think he uses it enough. I'm not saying Jennings never jabs, but I don't think he does it enough. He likes to come with the high guard and, so on and so forth. But Trey Lippe Morrison. Now he set out all of 2017, man. This dude had injuries. He broke his hand. He messed his hand up. Then he had a nasty gash over his eye. I've done videos about these injuries he had. So it messed up his whole 2017, stopped his momentum, but he made a comeback. A few weeks ago, he beat Journeyman Byron Pulev, knocked him down 5 times, TKO in the 3rd round. All right. Morrison had a lot of momentum when I believe it was the end, maybe it was fall, forget, of 2016 when he fought another um, prospect. What was the guy that he fought, man? It's going to mess with me now. I can't believe I just forgot this, but somebody looked that up, man. But he fought another prospect on a Showbox down there in Oklahoma, man. And yeah, I believe it was Miami, Oklahoma. He fought him, man. That casino, and people were cheering for him. He had that little casino packed, man. You know what I mean? So Ed Lattimore, that's who we fought. They're both undefeated prospects on Showbox. I love when Showbox put those types of cards together. When you got 2 hungry prospects, you know, that are double digits as far as undefeated, 11-0, 12-0, 18-0, getting it on with each other, man. Because everybody just can't be undefeated. It's like everybody want to be undefeated and then they want a title shot. It doesn't work like that, man. Everybody can't get a title shot. Just think about it. The 2 guys that have titles, there's only 2 guys at heavyweight that have the belts. Everybody ain't gonna be able to fight them. You know, so but I like when guys get in there with undefeated records, man, and putting them on the line. You know what I mean? So but yeah, he knocked him out in impressive fashion. And then I know, believe it's CBS. Is it CBS? It was one of the other networks. And I know Showbox. There was a few networks that were interested in telecasting his next fight after that Lattimore fight. He was not able to capitalize on that due to those injuries, man. So hopefully that momentum comes back. He's still young. I believe he's like 28 years old. So he improved to 15-0 with 15 KOs, and that's always going to catch somebody's eye, right? You're Tommy Morrison's son, who was known as a knockout puncher. Rest in peace. And then you're 15-0 with 15 KOs. And you're a white American heavyweight. We haven't seen a white American heavyweight. Shit, I'm not what, Joe Macy? I mean, so somebody help me. I'm trying to, like, seriously. When's the last time we had a notable white American heavyweight? Shit, I have no idea. You know what I mean? So it's good to see that and see what he can do. And then his brother James Mackenzie Morrison also picked up a victory. He's 14-0 with 2 draws and 12 KOs. He beat who did he fight? Was it Galen? Is it Galen Brown? I believe he fought Galen Brown. And he was able to beat him, man. So they're both undefeated. Both seem to have heavy hands. But I think Trey Lippe Morrison, in my opinion at least, is probably the more intriguing of the 2. Maybe because it's the 15-0, 15 KOs. But he literally does have heavy hands. A good left hook. Since he's got with Freddie Roach, he seems to be a better fighter. Seems to be in better shape and putting his punches together a little bit better before he got with Roach, in my opinion. All right. So, and Trey Lippe Morrison, he's a guy. I like to see him in there with another one of these up and comers, man. Maybe like a Jermaine Franklin. Like I said, I know some managements, they want to just guide their guys up into a 25-0 record and throw them in there for a title shot. But like I said, everybody's not gonna be able to fight for titles, man. So I don't know if you know, he wants to go the fight another prospect route or fighting a former champion or a guy that fought for a title. You know what I mean? Try to get one of those guys in there and see what he has. But Pulev versus Miller. Let me touch on that for a second. Now, Pulev and his team won the purse bid. Miller is pretty much saying he's not want to go out to Sofia to fight Pulev. All right. My thing about that is this. Okay, that's fine. If that's what you want to do. I'm not going to sit here and even argue that he shouldn't do it or he should do it. My thing is you can no longer, and it's not just Miller, this is for everybody, because I hate when these heavyweights do this. And trust me, guys, I've been making heavyweight videos on here for about 9 years on YouTube. And you always get the group of guys saying, nobody want to fight me. Nobody want to fight me. Nobody want to fight me. Nobody. And as soon as fights are presented, title elimination bouts, mandatory bouts, they don't want the fight. And then they'll go on to say, nobody want to fight me. Well, that's not true. Now, as far as the money situation, I'm not sure if that's one of the main sticklers to why Miller doesn't want to go out to Sofia. Maybe because he thinks it's corrupt judging. It could be an assortment of things. But my bottom line thing is, okay, that's cool. Your career. Do what you want. But you can no longer say nobody want to fight me. because you're getting put in a position where you can get a title shot. Now Miller, um, I know that he can possibly get a fight with probably possibly Wilder or even Anthony Joshua, even without being a mandatory. You know what I mean? But at the same time, no, just can't use the whole nobody wants to fight me thing. Because there's a guy named Luis Ortiz out there. He wants to fight. You get what I'm saying? So if this is what Miller wants to do, man, not go out to Sofia to fight Pulev, hey, more power to him, man. That's on him. But opportunities like that don't just come just like that. You know what I mean? But as long as he's undefeated and he has a good mouthpiece as far as hyping himself, he can hype the fight. He's still he's still one of them guys in the division right now that a lot of fans want to see fight some of the other top guys. So he does have that behind him. But I don't know, man. What do y'all think? Should he go out to Sofia to fight Pulev, or should they fight neutral ground, probably somewhere in the UK, or what do y'all think? Whyte versus Parker. Good fight. Oh, before I get to that, Vlad Sarenko, he also improved to 8-0 with 7 KOs. He made a return. What was the guy that he was fighting? Knife Didier, I believe that was the guy's name. Yeah, his first name was Knife. Literally, Knife Didier. Pretty much, man, when Sarenko landed the first solid left hook, the fight was over. Because he was landing little brushing left hooks and little brushing, scraping right hands that kind of made the guy's eye blink. And you can tell when a guy gets hit with a good shot, he starts blinking, takes a step back. And I was like, damn, man, Sarenko really didn't even turn his hips into that left hook. He just kind of pawed with it, and it buzzed him. As soon as he turned into a good left hook, the guy started wobbling all over the place. He got stopped. Um, from my knowledge, Sarenko's, he is working with James Ali Bashir. Actually, shouts out to BWTM Sports. He did a live chat, and he had Blood Boxing on there and Trap House Boxing, and they actually were going. I'm not gonna say they're going at it, but they were having a discussion with James Ali Bashir, the OG trainer, uh, Crunk Gym affiliate. Going at it with him about Vladimir Klitschko, so on and so forth. Very entertaining debate discussion, in my opinion. But yeah, Sarenko's working with him. Last I checked, so like to see how Ali Bashir, like to see the progression in Sarenko's career and how far he can go. It's gonna be interesting to see that. Um, Daniel Dubois versus Nathan Gorman. That's a fight that I want to see. Hopefully that fight is made. I would like to see how Dubois is going to handle somebody like Gorman. Going to come undefeated, hungry. Ricky Hatton's training him. Just as confident, doesn't know how to lose, young, nothing to lose type of attitude. How is Dubois going to handle somebody going to his body? Somebody's going to try to tap body, somebody that can move their head a little bit and is young and strong just like him. I really want to see that fight. Hopefully that can be like their version of AJ versus Dillian Whyte type of thing. You know what I mean? All right, now let's get to Parker versus Whyte. I'm gonna get to the comments in a second, y'all. We'll get to the comments in a second. But Parker versus Whyte, man. I've heard people, I've seen some videos and I've read comments, people saying this could be like a fight of the year type of fight. Has a possibility of that. Yeah, it does. Just like I thought Parker versus Ruiz did. But Parker sometimes, I think from what I see, like the Ruiz fight, the Takam fight, the Joshua fight, it seems as if he made just mentally, he just said, you know what, I'm going to be the back foot fighter in this fight. And I think he may choose to do that in this fight. If he did it against fucking Takam, who's not known as a huge puncher, why wouldn't he do it against Dillian Whyte? You get what I'm saying? And Whyte just came off a scary KO win against Lucas Brown. You can say Lucas Brown was out of shape. You can say he was inactive, which he was. He's up there in age. He came in terrible shape. Yeah, he was. And he also got left face first on the canvas. You know what I mean? That's a fact too. So, but with that said, though, I'm just not sure what Parker's going to do. I think Parker is a better fighter when he's the bulldog in a fight. When he's coming forward, moving his head, working behind a quick jab, getting medium range, and letting punches go. He's not Larry Holmes, man. He's not Greg Page. And I know, I just don't understand why he fights in that style. He's not Jimmy Young. I don't know why he takes that approach. Now, maybe the Joshua fight, he felt as if he should have done that. But I think he goes on the back foot a little bit too much when he doesn't have to, in my opinion. But he won those fights. Close decisions, but he won those fights, though, that I mentioned. The Takum fight and the Ruiz fight, fighting in that manner. So to me, it all depends on what type of fight Parker wants to fight, if it's going to be a fight of the year type of fight. Because I know Dillian Whyte, especially if you hit him one good time, he's going to want to make it to a dust up, a tear up. That's just him mentally. He will make it into a tear up. So Parker come out there and punch him in his mouth, meaning, bringing a fight to him and say, I'm not moving around. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to fight you in the same manner that I was trying to fight Huey Fury. If he comes out like that, then we could have a fight of the year on our hands. But if he comes out off, doing this back foot thing and trying to win off the back foot, I just don't. I think he's a better fighter when he's coming forward and being the aggressor. You got all that hand speed, and he doesn't have the longest reach. So it's not like he has that reach advantage to where he is turning you and fighting off the back foot. Although he was able to do it and have some success in other fights, he doesn't have that type of reach where he can literally just tag you with 2, 3s, and 4s, punch combinations, and fight you off the back foot all night. And I think Whyte matches him in reach, or maybe has a longer reach. And Whyte can do a good job of sometimes putting up that high guard and pumping his own jab. You know what I mean? So Parker fighting with his hands down, fighting out of that elusive style. If he can't get away out of that jab, or he gets blinded by jabs, then Whyte will have an opportunity to come down the pipe with right hands and then finish off and wipe his nose with the left hook. You know what I mean? So stylistically, man, I think as far as their attributes and stuff, I think Parker has the faster hands. His chin is better from the eye test, or it's yeah, shit. He hasn't been knocked out. They fought the same guy that knocked Dillian Whyte out, and Joshua didn't come close to knocking Parker out. He landed a good, I believe it was a left uppercut that he landed on Parker, or was a left hook. Parker was able to land some sneaky right hands on Joshua, and I think those sneaky right hands will be there to land on Dillian Whyte. Doesn't move his head as well. He likes to put up the high guard and ride with shots, and his offense is his defense. He's going to trade with you to get you off of him. You know what I mean? When the ducking, weaving, and bobbing don't work, he's just going to just old-fashioned just trade with you. You know what I mean? To get you up off of him. So that's what I think about that. Then Whyte going to the body, that could play in his factor to slow Parker down, slow those legs down. But he's leaving. Once they get close like that, I'm going to favor Parker if he's letting his hands go. If he's letting his hands go. Now, body shots will wear you down, but also getting hit on the chin from a fast fighter who has a little bit of pop too can wear you down also. Especially when you're going to the body and he's going to your chin. Now, like I said, a good body shot will make you fold like a lawn chair, but at the same time, though, guy landing big shots you don't see, hitting that tempo, hitting that jaw, hitting that sweet spot can get you out of there. So like I said, if both guys come with that I'm coming to get it mentality, we'll possibly have a fight of the year. But if Parker chooses this back foot thing, it's going to be a unanimous decision, and I don't know how it's going to go. I'm not sure what them judges are going to believe, what they seen in that ring that night. Parker's been in some close fights, man. I thought he edged Ruiz and Takum 7-5. I think live right after the fight with Ruiz, I think I had it 6-6 or maybe 7-5-1 Parker, but I had it very close. Takum, I had him winning 7-5. I had the Huey Fury fight 6-6, 7-5-ish for him. And you guys know about my AJ thing. I had that 6-6-ish, something like that. So and that's the problem when fights go to decision, man. You're gonna have judges, fans, thinking some of everything. That's why I like for fights to end by knockout, man. So we don't have to sit here and debate and, well, he won this round, and I like knockouts, man. Something concrete where we can say, yeah, he got knocked the fuck out. You know what I mean? Okay, yeah, he won the first 4 rounds, then he got knocked out. No debating over, there's no debate over somebody being unconscious. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what y'all talking about, man. This fight heating up that I'm watching too, man. This Ernie Shavers versus Roy Williams. Shavers got Williams against the ropes, working that body, pressing him. Williams trying to catch him, trying to pick him off. He's getting caught with some good hooks by Shavers. We know Shavers ultra aggressive, wants to come forward. Huge puncher in the history of boxing, especially in this decade right here. Roy Williams, big tough dude. Ooh, good left hook by Roy. But it's not enough. Like Shavers eating punches like M&M's, man, still coming forward. We know Shavers known to be in wars. Whether he was giving it or taking it. And right now he's doing some of both. Let me see what y'all talking about. We'll go through these comments, man. Oh, NBT Boxing just said heavyweight and cruiserweight fans, what's the deal? Yeah, let me get to that cruiserweight fight. Usyk versus Gassiev. I'm gonna go with Usyk because before this tournament started, him and Marius Briedis were my favorites, and I know styles make fights, and I thought that the toughest fight is funny, man, but I was kind of right. Well, we'll see after the Gassiev fight, but up until now, um, I said the only guy I really see Usyk losing to in this fight were Briedis. That's why they were both my favorites. So then when they and I came with that conclusion before the bracket was made. When I just heard who was all in the tournament, I looked at the names and right off, without even thinking about it hard, Usyk and Briedis were my favorites. And they ended up fighting in the semis. So I think Usyk movement, I think he has underrated power. Do I think he's this, you know, like Tommy Hearns, Bob Foster, Ernie Shavers. No, not that type of power, but I think he has a type of power. Ooh, Williams is teeing off on Shavers. Oh yeah, this is the part where Williams thought he won the fight. The ref could have possibly stopped the fight right there. All right, let me get back on point. Um, damn, I forgot where I was, man. So yeah, Usyk doesn't have that type of power, but he has the type of power that can. This is a slugfest. I'm sorry, man, but he will make you respect him. Where you're not just gonna be just walking through his punches to get to him. At least at cruiserweight, I just don't see guys being able to do that. And then the movement can frustrate you, to where he is. How did he not stop this fight, y'all? For those of you who ain't seen this fight, go watch Roy Williams versus Ernie Shavers. Shavers is dead tired. Shit, Roy Williams dead tired from hitting. Roy Williams dead tired from just putting hands on him. But Usyk, like I said, the movement, the foot speed movement and be able to move his head, that's a lost art too. Like the jab, moving your head is like damn near a lost art. Guys just coming, especially out of cruiserweights and heavyweights, come forward, stand really tall, jab, jab, right hand, jab, jab, right hand, jab. It's like, man, mix it up a little bit, be a little creative, throw faster punches. Off topic a little bit, but when I went back and you guys go, they like to make fun of the guys in the 80s, uh, drug abuse, they're all bums, it's like when people talk about Tyson's resume, who did he beat? Even when they go to Larry Holmes, who did he beat? But when you actually watch, forget all that. You go watch those fights, it's crazy how much faster the heavyweights were versus today. Them dudes, uh, Pinkline Thomas, Dokes, Witherspoon, Greg Page. Now everybody wasn't fast, right? Tex Cobb wasn't fast. He stopped him. The ref could have stopped the fight when Williams has Shavers like that. Williams is hurt though, but shit, Shavers is just as hurt as he was. Oh, he didn't. He fell down, but then he fell. But then Williams, when the ref did let him continue to fight, he fell down. He called it. All right, but those guys were fast as hell. Dokes. Go look at the hand speed. Them dudes were putting together 6 and 7s and 8s. What I mean by that is 6, 7, 8 punch combination. Larry Holmes. But like I was saying, everybody wasn't super fast. Tex Cobb wasn't fast. Alfredo Evangelista wasn't fast. But their top guys did have fast hands. putting together 6s and 7s and 8s easily. Ali, you know, late 70s, easy. Leon Spinks, them dudes used to throw quick combinations. Was everybody fast? No. Jerry Cosia wasn't the fastest guy. But now today's is like, it's rare to see a heavyweight put together 6s, 7s, and 8s, unless they're in a slugfest. You got guys today barely want to put together 1s, 2s, and 3s without clinching. Go watch those fights, man, and watch how fast those guys are as far as their hand speed, their footwork, their foot movement, their head movement. It just looked more polished. Those guys look more polished than the guys of the day. Bigger, stronger, faster. What does that mean? You ain't moving your fucking head. You don't think there were 6'5", 6'6" dudes in the 80s and 70s? Just watch the fight with Roy Williams. He's 6'5", 240. He fit right in with today's heavyweights. There's one thing that bothers me about the heavyweights, man. Put together 6, 7s, and 8s. And not just these stiff 1, 2, 3s. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You know, but I already got off topic a little bit, man. But Gassiev, good left hook, patient guy, sturdy, well balanced, seems to have a pretty good chin. I think he will walk and stalk Usyk while he's getting outboxed. And he'll be looking, in my opinion, for the big 1-2. The big 1-2. Jab, right hand, left hooks. I think he'll be looking for that type of combination, ripping hard body shots one at a time, that type of fighting style. And I think Usyk will just be, for the most part, I think Gassiev will win some rounds, but I think Usyk will be boxing circles, squares, and triangles around him. His feints, just the movement. He's going to have to, if Gassiev can slow him down, cut the ring off, and try to make everything count, then he has a better chance to isolate Usyk in one spot and then have a fight with him. And even then, it's not guaranteed. I would favor Gassiev with power. I'll favor him in that department. But what's power if the shit can't land flush? All the power in the world can help if you can't land on nothing. On top of, you're going to be getting hit too and backed up. And I think Usyk will make Gassiev respect him with his power. Punch you don't see coming. Those are the power. Those are the shots that really hurt you. Punches you don't see coming. And I think Usyk has more of an opportunity to land those type of punches. So I'm going to pick Usyk in that fight. I just think he's just an all-around better fighter. He moves like he's the better athlete. Gang of experience from the amateurs. I know amateur and pro is a different thing. Okay, I totally understand that. But I think he has a lot more experience. As far as all together in their boxing lives, I think he's the more experienced fighter. I know Gassiev has more pro fights. Another thing I like to bring up that people like to overlook and say, yeah, but those guys are not Wilder and Joshua and Povetkin and so on and so forth, is that Usyk dominated in the World Series of Boxing, that tournament at super heavyweight. He schooled Joe Joyce. He schooled Junior Fa. I asked Junior Fa when I interviewed him one time, who's the best fighter you ever been in the ring with? And I was expecting him to say Joseph Parker, being that they fought each other 4 times in the amateurs, splitting their fights 2-2 against each other. He said Usyk. Right off, he didn't think about it. He said Usyk by far. And this coming from a guy that's 6'6", 260 pounds. And Usyk went there and dominated the super heavyweights. He made them look rather slow. You guys heard of a guy named Roberto Balado? He was Cuban. That's what Usyk was reminding me of in that. Just making these dudes miss, just making these dudes look like just too slow. Just making it like he was fighting at a whole different speed. Not just hand speed, but just the way he was moving his head, ducking, getting out of the way of punches, turning them. It was just like it was 2 different levels of fighting. And I think he has that ability to do it at heavyweight. I think he can win some heavyweight fights. And in 2015, I made that video. I made a video of him being a heavyweight prospect. I know he's a cruiserweight, I know, but I look at him more as he's going to go to heavyweight one day. I was saying in 2015, late 2015 when I made that video. So hopefully We'll see what happens. But I said in a couple years, this guy's going to be at heavyweight making noise. This before he even won a title at cruiser. You know, and a lot of people thought this. It wasn't like I was some prophet. A lot of people thought this, but I was one of the guys that made a video about it. Before he had a cruiserweight title, I really see him more as a heavyweight. You know, you put him in the ring with Derek Chisora, I think he beats Chisora. I think he beats Ajay Caballero. I think he beats a lot of these guys. Based on everything that I said. All right. All right, now let me get to the comments, y'all. And I'm way behind. 32 people watching, only 17 thumbs ups. Hit that like button, y'all. Lawrence Williams says Parker has better movement and more durable. Whyte tend to leave his game plan in his toughest fights. Yeah, because toughest fights, Chisora, Anthony Joshua. He's one of them dudes, man, mentally, he'll go in there with a plan, and as soon as you hit him, he wants to get back at you. He wants to get back at you. He's one of them dudes, man. Culver City Film Club says, I think it goes the distance, might be close, but Whyte has to take him out in the 10th. He better hope he don't exert too much energy trying to do that, because Parker seems to have good stamina. I know some people question it a lot, but shit, he's going 12 rounds. It's not like he's collapsing after the fight's over. You know, he looked like a guy that went 12 rounds and, you know, doesn't look too gassed after his 12-round fights, in my opinion. But Whyte, on the other hand, I've seen him breathing very hard in a few of his fights. So with him trying to do that, if he takes that approach, he better hope he doesn't tire himself out and set himself up to get stopped. AA Boxing and Blunt says, good evening across the pond. What's good, man? Lawrence Williams says, Lewis fought foul in Showbox in February, I believe. Yeah, I forgot when that card was exactly, but yeah, they did fight on that Showbox. AA Boxing and Blunt says, let's give Whyte credit for the Helenius win. I give him credit for getting clipped. What punch did Helenius catch him with? He clipped him with, like, it was a short left or right, I forget. It was so quick, you had to watch it in slow motion to see where he clipped him. So I give Whyte credit for getting dazed and almost being embarrassed to come back and scrape out the decision. Helenius was very negative in that fight. That wasn't a Helenius that fought Samuel Peter. I know after the fight, I even posted the video of him where he came on his Instagram page and said, hey, man, my hand was fucked up and I did this fight for the money. He kept it real. Usually fighters don't keep it real like that. He said, hey, man, I needed the money. I knew I shouldn't have been in here, but I needed the money. And that's honesty you don't get from a lot of fighters. You know what I mean? I needed the check. But as far as giving him credit, I give him credit for that. I mean, it's a good win, man. Like, we have to stop. Well, I'm not going to say what you guys should have to do, but me, one thing I don't like to do, man, is just call everybody bums. Because then when you start that whole, not saying that you call Lenius a bum, but just that whole thing of he only fought bums. Dude, we can only grade what's in front of us. We can't, I mean, Mike Tyson isn't walking through that door. David Toole isn't walking through that door. Joe Louis is not walking through that door. Ernie Shaver is not walking through that door. We can only grade what's in front of us. Whatever the top 25 is, that's the top 25. Whether you think Ruiz Jr. is a bum, or you think this guy's a bum, or that guy's, I mean, we can only grade what's in front of us. Helenius in nowadays boxing, for right now, that's a decent win. Decent. Is it an all-time great? No, but it's decent for what we have out there. Would you rather see him get a win over Helenius, or would you rather see him get a win against some journeyman you never heard of? I'd rather see a guy beat Helenius to add to his resume. Now, obviously, I'd rather see a guy, first priority would be see a guy beat Povetkin on his resume, and Wilder and Joshua. Well, of course. But you're not going to be able to fight fucking Wilder and Joshua every fight. So if you can't get those guys, then try to get the contenders. You can't get the contenders, then get the guys that are kind of fringe. And that's every decade and era it's like that, where guys had to be some of the tougher fringe contender guys and guys who've had title shots. And, you know, that's boxing, man. Uh, JMJ says, Mr. Box today was good. What do you think about the spreadsheet? You talking about the rankings? If you're talking about the rankings, I think the rankings are bullshit. To tell you the truth, how different the sanctioned bodies rankings can be in comparison to each other. I think all title holders should be rated in other sanctioned bodies. Why isn't it? It just looks so stupid, man. Like to see Anthony Joshua not in the WBC rankings. You're telling me the top 15 heavyweights in the world doesn't have Anthony Joshua in it, or just to see Wilder not rated in the IBF. And I understand some of these sanctioned bodies, they don't rate other title holders. I know that rule. I'm just saying I think the rule is stupid because it just confuses casual fans even more when you're looking at these rankings. I'm gonna pull up the rankings right now, but like Tom Schwartz, right? Good, decent prospect. He's not a top 5 heavyweight, but last I looked, he was like rated number 5 by the WBO. Who did Tom Schwartz beat to be rated number 5 in the world? Young, undefeated. I like him as a prospect, but he's not a number 5 heavyweight in the world. That's just not true. But technically, he is according to the WBO, right? That's just an example, and it's not to pick on him. It's just a lot of these rankings. Like the last time I checked, WBC had like Bermane Stiverne at number 15. Bermane Stiverne is no longer a top 15 heavyweight. Now, I guess that's my opinion saying that, right? But in comparison to everybody else that's out there with the eye test, and I guess there's a lot of opinion in this, he doesn't look like a top 15 heavyweight. He's been off for a year, a year or two, came back, got blitzed in the first round. Nothing about the last couple years says top 15 when I look at Bermane Stiverne right now in his career. Roz Clot was good, man. Beverly Rose Boxing ENT says the jab should be the first thing you learn to establish in boxing. Yes, especially on offense. My thing, Beverly Rose, is I think working from the ground up. If I was training a guy, or what I think how fighters should be brought up is ground up. So first thing is the footwork. And when I say footwork, I mean footwork balance plus balance. Can everybody move around the ring like Ali? No. But one thing I think everybody can work on is how to move your feet. You're not crossing your feet over. You're sliding back and forth and side to side. Good balance, knowing how to turn your hips when you're punching, and twist your feet around, or turn, pivot, balance. So I like to go ground up. But yeah, when it comes to offense, the first punch you should work on is your jab. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be fast enough to just lead with power shots all the time. Not all the time. You have to set some of that shit up with a jab. Now, some guys are able to lead with power shots. You know what I mean? Just depending on how fast your hands are. And how just naturally talented you are. But the jab, man, the jab is key. The jab is key. Eddie Salsa, he says, anyone know what Sorenko's up to? I'm not sure if you asked that, but I actually talked about Sorenko in this vid, man. He just came back, got a victory, he beat Knife Didier. That fight's on YouTube. We blitzed him in the first round. Easy work. James Coleman was good. He says he didn't use it against Ortiz. I'm not sure. You might be talking to somebody else. What's up, though? Lawrence Williams says Pulev rocked Morrison with the right hand in that fight. I didn't get a chance to actually see the fight, man. I've been looking for it online, and I did not get a chance to actually see that fight. That's why I just gave you all the result and what I think about it. But shit, man, even if he did rock him, he got knocked down 5 times. But it doesn't surprise me if he, I mean, Police, as you know, and I'm sure you know, Lawrence, but Police, one of them just journeyman, has been there with some of everybody. He knows when to pick his spots and, shit like that. Um, but it wouldn't surprise me more if Morrison got caught, because he's a guy that likes to trade leather. And if you top guy like to trade leather, the chance of you also getting caught are higher than a guy that elects to fight off the back foot. You know what I mean? I'm sure that most of you know that. So it wouldn't surprise me if he got caught with something that got tagged. Wouldn't surprise me at all. That's what makes him exciting. That vulnerability also. That's what made, guys like Mike Tyson exciting. It's like there was some vulnerability there as far as what happens if he gets caught. And he's keeping himself, although Tyson more, and I'm not trying to compare them to, I'm just saying the styles, guys who are looking for knockouts, who are coming to pressure you for the knockout. They can leave themselves open sometimes. Even if they do have crazy head movement and all that type of stuff, you're still coming in there for the kill, which means there's going to be some spots there for you to get caught. Bone Crusher Smith found a spot late in the fight with Mike Tyson, literally like the last 10 seconds, but he found him an opportunity where he kind of rocked Tyson. Or Bruno found an opportunity where he landed something and slightly rocked Tyson. When you going out there for that kill, man, the chances of you getting cracked are high. Yep, Lawrence, it was Ed Lattimore. Yep, so I'm getting to these comments right now. J. Real says, I hope we get back to a point where people stop acting like a boxer is a bum. If he loses, I swear that keeps the best fights off the table, because fighters scared to mess up their brand or whatever. Yeah, this whole notion of I'm going to just stay undefeated until my title shot comes around, that's BS, man. Everybody's not going to fight for this title. These rankings should have to mean something. Like, it should mean something for you to be the number 2 rated heavyweight in the world or number 3 rated heavy. You should hold that shit. That should be sacred. You should defend that. I think these sanctioned bodies should make these dudes fight for number 1 rankings. And I know they do to some degree when they have title elimination bouts, but that ranking should mean something. It shouldn't just be a name and a number and some random ass name next to the ranking. And that's what it feels like, man. Like, you go watch these fights from the 70s and 80s, and these guys were proud to be the number 3 rated guy. Going out, they're going out there to defend that shit with honor. Now it's like, you'll look on here and some guy you never fucking heard of, or he's rated number 4. It's like, who the fuck is that guy? Or you got to be hardcore into it like myself and a few of us, to where we know who these guys are. But the normal fan, they're not gonna know who half these damn dudes are that are rated, because these rankings, they change month to month. Even if a guy doesn't lose a fight, just all these new additions and guys who've been inactive. Guillermo Jones, I know is still rated as a top 15 heavyweight. He's not a top 15 heavyweight, man. And don't get me wrong, he had a pretty decent career, man, but is a cruiser, but he's not a top 15 heavyweight. Stop it. Kai Toro Fujimoto is not a top 15 heavyweight. Stop it. Mike Wilkins says Trey Morrison versus Junior fight. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, man. That's a good one, man. Morrison versus Fire right now. I got to come back to that one, man. I got to come back to that one. That's a good one. Damn, that's 50-50 to me. I'm not going to try to force my pick. It's just, I think it's 50-50. If I had a coin right now, I would just toss the coin and pick like that. But I think that's 50-50. Because Fi, you try to come out there and be just ultra aggressive, looking and hunting for knockouts. Like I said about guys being able to place shots in between that fireball that you try to come out and fight in, and you're going to run through everything. It takes one good precise shot right down the middle. Fi's a big enough fighter, and I think he has a punch to where if you don't see that punch coming, I do think he can put you to sleep. And I think Morrison will run that risk trying to fight that type of fight. I think he tries to stand on the outside. Fa is a underrated outboxer. If you go watch his I know it's amateurs, but if you watch some of those fights, he's a pretty good outboxer in those European tournaments that I've seen him in. That was one of the things that caught my eye about him, that he wasn't just this big slug come forward guy. He can actually fight off the back foot. If he can do that and have Morrison run into right hands, you know what I mean, he could possibly win the decision and keep him on the outside, tie him up on the inside, don't let him get that left hook off. I think it's a 50-50 fight. Lawrence Williams says Trey Morrison versus Gwynn if he needs some rounds. You're damn right. We know one thing, Dominic Gwynn will go to full 12 with you. Or the full 10, or however long they make that fight off for. ING says Tommy had the WBO belt, apparently, according to Wikipedia. Yes, he did have that belt. He did hold that WBO title. Is that the title he... Was that for the Foreman fight? But yeah, and that was when that WBO wasn't looked at. It wasn't recognized by the other three sanctioning bodies as a major world title at that time. We know who won that title the first time? Francisco Damiani. He was the first WBO heavyweight champion, if I'm correct. Then Ray Mercer beat him. Somebody correct me, Lawrence Williams. I know you may know that, but I believe Francisco Damiani was the first WBO heavyweight title holder, and Ray Mercer beat him after that. A fight that he was actually beating Ray. When Ray came on and got him out of there. Let me see here. Eddie Salsa says, or is it the WBA has the second tier champ? You may be talking to somebody else, but let me just talk about that too. The WBA has been pissing me off, man. Not just recently with the stuff with this Pulev and Joshua. They ordered that the fight be signed within 24 hours and shit still in, not even just with that, but just a couple summers ago. You guys remember when they came out with their tournament? And I did a video about it, but they came out with a bracket for a tournament. And in that tournament, they included that regular title. I'm trying to think if I can remember how the bracket was, man. I did a video about it. Let me see if I can remember off the top of my head. On one side of the bracket, you had Freza Kendo, who had a bye. And I think it was Lucas Brown versus Chagayev. The winner of that fights Freza Kendo. That regular WBA title was going to be involved on that side of the bracket. On the other side of the bracket, you had, it was originally Klitschko versus Fury rematch. The winner fights Ortiz. I believe that's how the bracket was set up. I did a video about it if I'm off by a little bit. But anyways, with that tournament, by the end of the tournament, the WBA president said this. I'm not making this up. He said that, we're on a mission right now to eradicate all these minor titles within our sanctioning body, the regulars and all that. So once the tournament is completed, the WBA title the regular title will no longer be in existence. That shit was like 2 years ago. The title's still around, still being fought for. You know what I'm saying? It's just, come on, man. It's just ridiculous. But hey, man, got to keep the lights on somehow, right? So let's fight for this regular title. That's stupid, man. So we all know that Anthony Joshua is the real WBA champion, not Manuel Char. He's also defending that title against Freza Kendo. Lawrence Williams says, Tarver said that nobody want to fight him. Then Malik Scott ran up on him and he started talking about money. Yeah, Tarver's another one, man. There's been a few fights. I know Dillian Whyte wanted to fight him. I believe I put the video. I actually put the video of Whyte talking about it himself off his Instagram page, and I put it's all up on my page, man. Go, you could type in Tarver Whyte, and those videos will pop up. And I think I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Tarver was saying something like they only offered him 50 G's or 60 G's, or it was still something in his opinion that was very low. And it's like, but bruh, man, like, I understand you beat Roy and you went to the Olympics, and that's all cool, bro. But you approaching 5-0, you approaching like 50, man. Like, I mean, you can't be sitting back here that you about to get some crazy payday. And it's just, the more he's doing this, the more years are going by. You know what I mean? So at some point, I mean, shit, how much did you make? Not that it even matters to me, but how much you make against Jonathan Banks? I mean, did you break the bank against Jonathan Banks? You know what I mean? Like, he's making it seem as if he's coming off like these $1 million paydays. You know, but I understand, though, you get in the ring risking your life, man. You want the most money is, you know, that you can possibly get, man. But at the same time, you're gonna let years just go. I mean, go out there and accomplish. I mean, now when I say accomplish something, he has accomplished things in his career. But I'm talking about recent times. Beat one of these tough guys for the low ball. You know, I know that's easy for me to say, but just sitting back looking at it, it's like, that's like your only fucking opportunity. Get a televised fight, and beat one of these notable guys, and then go on to the next step. It's almost like starting your career over again when you were young. And I know when you get to this stage, you should be able to live off your name, but your name was made at light heavyweight years ago. You know what I mean? So, like, over 10 years ago type shit. So Trap House Boxing was good. Kells C says Miller doesn't have any clout to make demands on where he wants to fight. I think he needs to go there and handle his business. I would agree with that, man. Shit, why not go to? I mean, go out there and mow him down, man. That's his style, to try to mow you down and get you out of there. Go out there and fight in that style, man, and try to get the victory. You know, but I think I'm not sure what Jarrell's going to do, man. It's up to Jarrell. Lawrence Williams says Big Baby is the mandatory for Char versus Okendo winner. Yeah, he can go that route too. There's a few things that he can do, man. But I don't know, man. I just don't see why any of these guys. I mean, I guess you will be technically a world champion, but I don't as a fan and just knowing the belts, I just don't see what's the glory in being a regular champion or the regular WBA title holder. I don't see the glory in that, where realistically you're pretty much just the you're pretty much, to me, the regular title just means #1 contender. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. It's like the glorified #1 contender to a certain degree. Trap House says, I don't think Daniel Dubois can beat Gorman. Be a good fight. Be a real good fight, man. I like to see how Dubois handles somebody going to his body that's hell bent on going to that body. But being hell bent and committing to one thing sometimes can leave you in a lot of danger. But I'd love to see that stylistically, man, how that would break down. Rozclot222, what's good, man? He says both Ruiz and Takam beat Parker, in my opinion. Very close fights, man. Very close fights. NBT Boxing says, I say Whyte has a better chance, though. He may win a round. Lawrence Williams says Brown is fighting David Izon. David Izon? Nah, man. Stop playing, man. Stop playing. Stop playing. You got to be playing with me. David Izon? Hold on. Brown is fighting David Izon. Oh, my God. David Izon is still around? Man, I got to look that up. James Coleman says Well, hold on. Let me get back. Bad Bart says Whyte is sloppy as shit. That Hellenius fight was embarrassing. Dude was doing 360s in the ring. Yeah, Whyte can get sloppy sometimes. He can get very sloppy at points in the fight, man. He gets the winging wild ass shots, and he can get sloppy in there. Roscloud222 says Parker doesn't have any power. Whyte is going to be aggressive on him. Power. I think he has power. Do I think he is the hardest puncher in the division? No, but I think he does have power enough to make you respect him. If he sits down and actually lands his power shots. If he's on the move trying to fight you, then I don't think Whyte's going to respect it. He's going to have to put something on Whyte to make him respect him, man. James Coleman says, but Mr. Boxing, I think he's only a bulldog if he doesn't respect your power. Look at the Ruiz fight. It was times Ruiz had him second guessing coming in. Yeah, mainly because Parker put it from outside looking in, it seems as if he had in his mind that I'm going to be the outboxer. You're coming forward. Only thing you can do is come forward. I'm versatile, so I'm going to go off my back foot this fight. But could it been that he was second guessing? Possibly. But I think it was more of him strategically saying, all right, I elect to fight on the outside because I can beat you like this. Rather than having a dust up with you close where anything can fucking happen. NBT Boxing says he can't hurt Parker, though. Parker never been down. Asked David Higgins. James Coleman says Brown said he was trying to get a check. Ross Clock 222 says people like to downplay Whyte because they love Wilder and hate AJ. Whyte is a problem for any heavyweight. Yeah, I think he's a problem. I think he's a problem that can be solved, but I do think he is a problem. Another thing before I get to the rest of the comments, I seen Dominic Brazil on his Instagram pretty much saying, hey, WBC, hurry up and get this fight mandated so what did he say? So a real heavyweight can represent the WBC title the right way. It was something, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like that. So I know people like to do the whole he's the leftovers and he's leftovers. It's like, well, shit, man. This is why I don't like everybody being undefeated, because somebody's going to be leftovers to somebody, right? It's like this new terminology these days, man, that are being I hear so much. I've never heard this shit growing up watching boxing. I know times change and you always can't talk about the old days. And okay, I understand that, but just like the overhyping of A side, B side, and he's his leftovers. And, sometimes you might have to take the route where you're fighting the same guys that somebody else fought. Look at what Evander Holyfield did. This is just one example. When Holyfield moved to heavyweight, what did he do? He started fighting all the guys that Tyson beat to prove to everybody that, hey, I can beat these dudes in equal fashion or better than Mike. I know Mike didn't fight Dokes, but Tillis, Stewart, Tyson fought Stewart later, but you guys get what I'm saying. Pinkline Thomas, Tillis, guys like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you take that route, man. Look at Jerry Cooney. I know Cooney fought a lot of those guys at the end of their careers, but the Ron Lyles and Jimmy Youngs, Ken Norton's, he was showing that, hey, I can be just as destructive as what George Foreman was a few years ago. You know what I mean? So all this leftovers and all that, it's boxing, man. People gonna lose. I don't understand why fans want to see 20 undefeated fighters. That's fucking insane. Who wants to see 20 undefeated heavyweights? Unless they're all going to be involved in a tournament. Who wants to sit back and listen to 20 heavyweights that are all undefeated saying nobody want to fight me? He running, he ducking. That's corny, man. People put too much on this undefeated shit, man. It's just, they put way too much stock in this. Then as soon as somebody leave, he got exposed. He's a bum. No, he lost the fight. It's fighting, you lose. It's just weird. Listen to this song. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just got an old soul, man. I don't know. Bad Bar says exactly. AJ never came close to KOing Parker. Whyte got ruined. Yeah, he didn't come remotely close, in my opinion. ING says, I think Parker will appoint him better feet and better conditioning. Yes, I do think he is the better conditioned athlete as far as their stamina is concerned. I think Dillian Whyte is very strong. I think he's a very strong fighter. Um, but I think he will, if I put money on, I think he gasses out before Parker. MBT Boxing says, since when has Whyte been a big hitter? Couldn't hurt Chisora or even Helenius. They both not big hitters, but at least Parker has skill. I don't think Whyte's a huge puncher, but he did show that he can knock somebody unconscious. And Lucas Brown, or you may argue anybody would have knocked him out unconscious that night. Well, yeah, but it just happened to be Dillian Whyte. And I also think when you got big dudes in there, 240, 250 pounds, swinging leather, anything can happen. And I know that's kind of simplistic, but I stick to that. I stick to that. Some things don't have to be oversimplified. I stick to that. But I don't think Dillian Whyte is this huge knockout puncher. I just don't. I think he's a guy that likes to wear you down and grind out and trade leather, and accumulation will probably get you out of there. J. Rose says, Mr. Box today, I think Parker is going to mix it up, bring the fight to Whyte, and then slip, and I'll try to create openings from the back foot. I don't think Parker is afraid of Whyte's power at all either. Yeah, he shouldn't be afraid, but it's just sometimes Parker just puts it in his head that he's going to be the outboxer, man, in certain fights. James Coleman says, is you in shape is a dangerous heavyweight too. Yeah, he's very dangerous. Had he not, and I want to say it was just him gassing, because Brazil, being a big guy himself, putting leather and putting pressure back on Iju after he was hurt, had a lot to do with him breaking down Iju. But Iju, good combination, good right hands. Good fundamentals. I think he's a solid fighter. I know he was pissed off in his last fight, fighting Fred Cassie. Cassie pretty much just said no mas in that fight. So Iju came back and pretty much couldn't really show anything because Cassie pretty much they didn't want no more. They didn't even get a chance to open up and really, he didn't have a chance to have a dominant performance. So I want to see Iju back quick. He shouldn't even be out. He should be. I haven't looked it up. Maybe he does have a fight schedule, but he should be fighting like next month. You know what I mean? Stay sharp. Stay in the ring, man. That's another thing. I know these guys got outside lives, but if you're trying to win a title and stay relevant, fight, man. Hey, man, fight every few months if you can, especially if you're in there getting first round knockouts, second round knockouts. Get back in there as quick as possible, man. Stay relevant, stay busy, stay active on social media, interact with your fans. Some of these guys need different managers. Because some of these guys, man, I mean, you have to go hunt and search and go to their Facebook just to see if they said anything about boxing. You know what I mean? And some of these guys don't, and I understand some of their social media platforms is for family and different things like that. But you're still a professional fighter. And you should always, and especially nowadays, you can reach out to your fans. Your fans can reach out to you just like that within an instance. You know what I mean? You should be using that social media, man, to help build your brand, to build. Put your training clips up. Even if you just say, leave a 1-minute video every other day, just calling out fighters and just showing training clips, like use that shit, man. Some fighters do, some fighters don't do it at all. You won't hear from some fighters for 3 months and they got a fight schedule. Crazy. Another thing I want to touch on, I'm all over the place right now, but is as far as the American heavyweights, I would like to see some of these networks putting together good heavyweight action with some of these guys that are getting rated in the sanctioning bodies. Like I said, I know some of these guys are waiting for title shots, but there's no reason we shouldn't be seeing like LaRon Mitchell, who's an undefeated 16, 17-0 guy, why he shouldn't have a televised fight. Gregory Corbin out of Dallas, Texas. He's another guy who's a really good amateur. I've done prospect watch vids on him. Older guy. Like him and LaRon Mitchell should be fighting. Both undefeated, 15, 16-0. You see Jermaine Franklin is taking on Craig Lewis. Fights like that should be happening all over America, man. You could bring American heavyweight boxing back by having some of those guys fight. Where the fuck is Trevor Bryan? What is he doing? He was in the top 10 and one. I still haven't pulled up the sanctioned body rankings. Let me see. But Trevor Bryan, like, where is he at? Last I heard, him and Jarrell Miller were trying to get a fight on Showtime. We know they have history from a few summers ago. I remember me doing a video about that. I thought that fight was going to happen. Then for whatever reason, it didn't happen. And I'm sure it was probably due to money. But just sitting on the shelves like this, man, some of these other guys should be getting opportunities too. Like I said, like the LaRon Mitchells, so on and so forth. I know Charles Martin has a fight possibly with Konowski coming up. But some of these other American heavyweights that are undefeated should be fighting each other. I know when I actually did an interview with Gregory Corbin, he was talking about that during the 2017, he was a possibility to fight Trey Lippe Morrison. Then Trey got hurt and all that stuff got pulled off the table. Gregory Corbin has called out Charles Martin and he wants to fight Jarrell Miller and all these other guys. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, for the American heavyweight scene to light up, it's more than just Deontay Wilder. And that's one thing I kind of scratch my head sometimes is we just look at Deontay Wilder. I know he's the title holder. He's our champion, but at the same time, there's still intriguing fights that can be made on undercards, man. I wish I had the money to put behind this. I have like a damn heavyweight extravaganza, like every few months, try to promote a card like that where you have 4 heavyweight fights. You don't need a huge venue, maybe just a venue of like 5,000 people. Get it loud and rowdy up in there, and raucous up in there, and have, you know, 3 or 4 heavyweight fights. You know what I mean? That's the pillar of that card, and promote our American heavyweights. A lot of guys out there that's undefeated, man. You could put Travis Kaufman in there with one of these guys. You know, you can mix and match, man. Lawrence Williams says Tony Tubbs' hands was fast as fuck. Hell yeah, they was. Super fast. Hey, man, speaking of Tubbs, the other day I was watching him versus Lionel Butler, man. And we know how Lionel was. He was a guy almost like Mike Weaver to start, although he didn't win the title. Started his career off kind of shitty, and then he started getting some decent wins late in his career, man. But yeah, Tubbs at his best had really good hands. Really showed good hand speed against Page. He was letting Page do all that clowning and twisting. You know how Page used to clown, and Tubbs like, I'm gonna let you do all that clowning. As soon as you get set to throw some punches, I'm landing my jab first. But Tubbs had really good, and shit, Tubbs even fought Riddick Bowe tough. You know what I mean? When Bowe was looking at the next best thing, Tubbs fought him tough in that fight too. Tubbs had really fast hands. Damn, a lot of comments, man. I gotta run. I'm getting phone calls and text messages. I'm gonna hop off here, man. I gotta take care of some business. Let me see. Lawrence Williams says mythical fight, Sonny Liston versus Tim Witherspoon. I'm gonna go listen to that fight. It shit depends what Tim Witherspoon shows up, man. But if he go in there and try to trade and get close and work body shots and overhands and all that type of shit, I'm going with Liston to set him up with that jab and that big right hand. All right, y'all. I appreciate all the comments. I can't get to all of them, man. Just wanted to chop up some heavyweight stuff. Damn, I'm seeing a lot of good questions in here too, man. But I appreciate another damn phone call. Let me get to the super chat. Bad Bart, I appreciate that. He says, thanks for the chat, Mr. Boxing. Always appreciate it. Learned a lot. Appreciate you showing up, man. Oh, okay. Lawrence Williams said, Izon's brother, Roger. Okay, I was about to say, man, David Izon still fighting? God damn. Okay, he has a brother named Roger. I didn't know that. Okay, so Roger Izon. Okay, bet that. All right, y'all. I couldn't get to all of them, man. Y'all be easy, man. I'm gone.